What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. So, one of my favorite spinoffs has finally come back. Season 2 of Annie and David after the 90 days. Episode 1 aired. So, I watched it. So, a little refresher. Last season, Amber and Jordan were trying to get their visas approved so they could come back to America and continue their education here while learning English so they can move back to Thailand and live a more prosperous and successful life. So, at the end of last season, we found out that their visas were not approved and they would need to reapply. So season 2 has begun, and Annie and David have actually already started the process of working on getting their visas approved. And it started with them buying a new home, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home that has more than enough space for everyone to stay. And Annie is actually working on getting her driver's license. And we actually learned that Annie has been driving since she was 16, but in Thailand, you didn't actually need a driver's license to drive a car. You actually just needed to pay off the police, her words, not mine, and then you could just drive whatever car that you had and there was no issue. So I'm wondering what the driving conditions were like in Thailand, because even in America, we do have rules and regulations and you need a driver's license, but we all have seen people on the road that most definitely should not be driving. So I'm just wondering what that's like, because we were watching David in the back seat of the driving instructing car, very nervous, and he felt like her driving was not bad, but he would still recommend Amber and Jordan wear a helmet and always buckle up when in the car with Annie. See, I am not the type to teach someone how to drive, so I couldn't even sit in the back seat while someone is learning. The anxiety is just too much, and the stress. I would need to be fully drunk before I get into a instructing car and have someone who is unable to physically drive yet drive me around.
Later.
So Annie and David are actually working on preparing their home for a monk ceremony, and it's kind of like a housewarming ceremony. It's a blessing. Like, so when you buy a new home in Thailand, it's very important to have the monks come over and complete a ceremony to bless your home so you have good spirits and have good things happen in the walls of that home. So the monk ceremony is very different from what we are used to in America, because the monks are actually offered food and offerings, and you are actually not allowed to sit at the table with the monks and consume it. Part of the ceremony is you serve them and they sit and eat, and that is how you bless your home. So David wants to make sure that he is seen as a more family oriented guy, so he is definitely expanding and blending his family. So what better way to make sure that everyone is a part of it than to invite his daughter Ashley and her daughter to the ceremony? And we know the last time we saw Ashley, things did get a bit heated. Things did get a bit crazy when she found out about the engagement between Annie and David, but we did learn that Ashley said after he left the Kentucky area and moved, their communication and things between them have improved 1,000%. They are speaking, they just aren't seeing each other physically as much as they would like to, but their relationship has definitely taken a turn for the better. And Aubrey said it's been about 2 years since she saw her grandfather, so there's much needed bonding time to have between them. And they did so at the trampoline park, which I love to think that Annie thought that it was the tangerine park and it was full of oranges and tangerines. That would be interesting, and I would love to kind of visit that and see what that would be like. I think in the back of everyone's mind, people are really wondering, how is Ashley going to feel about bringing Amber and Jordan back to the United States to live with Annie and David, because she does feel like her teenage years were not as good as they could have been because her father's absence from their lives. And then she hasn't always agreed with the decisions that he has made, and she definitely feels like David should be spending more time with her and his kids and his grandkids. So this blending of the family is definitely going to be something that is going to take a lot of work and effort to make sure that everyone sees it and accepts it and wants to be a part of this blended family.
Later.
So after the blessing of the home, David has a question to ask Ashley, and Ashley is definitely feeling that she wants to be more a part of her father's life, but doesn't really know how to go about it because of the situation that they're in and how things have been in the past. So David drops the bomb and says that since they're going back to Thailand in a couple of weeks, he would love for Ashley and Aubrey to come along with them and get to know the culture and get to know Annie's family and get to know Amber and David and try to understand why it's important that they all blend together as one family and be able to get along. And Ashley is actually open to the idea. She likes the idea of getting to know Annie's family, getting to know the Thai culture, and learning more about the lifestyle that her father has taken on and become a part of. We also find out that David has decided when they arrive in in Thailand that he is going to become a monk. Now, he's not going to become a monk full time, but he is definitely going to become a monk for a short amount of time, which is pretty interesting because no one is really sure if David is going to be able to withstand those things. That is a very interesting thing. And we did learn that in Thai culture, most men become a monk for a short amount of time or a lifetime, depending on your personal choice. But it is a part of your culture as a man to become a monk, even for a short amount of time. So this is something very important in their culture. And David is definitely trying to adapt that into his life. So it will be interesting to watch him shave his head, shave his eyebrows, and even go through the process of becoming a monk and practicing the things that monks practice. This is going to be an interesting season. And now, with the addition of Ashley and her daughter Aubrey, I do feel like the family is definitely coming together. And I'm really excited to see the path that this season is going to take us on. All right, guys, I'm George Mossey. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey and at georgemossey.com for all your 90 Day Fiancé news, interviews, and updates.